the last thing we put out was the Wemby versus Chet thing. And, and you know, and a lot of people call me a Wemby hater. I'm not a Wemby hater. I love to see Wemby play. But the truth is, he's not an all-time great defensive player. He's not a great defensive player. He's a great shot blocker. I mean, guys put up like crazy nights on Wemby. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like from last year to this year. Even though he's a rookie last year, a lot of people felt like he should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. Am I right? You thought so, too.
I thought so, too, yeah.
Nobody thinks Joel Embiid is Shaquille O'Neal. He puts up 70 points on him. Like, no Defensive Player of the Year, and on any night, your worst night, you have stomach issues, you have AIDS, your right knee is broken. Like, nobody should be able to put up 70 points on you. You look, and it goes into this year, you have guys putting up 50 on him, 40 and 20. Like, he's a great shot blocker. I thought this was interesting. Jalen Williams of the OKC Thunder says that he wants the Defensive Player Award to be changed. He feels like that only big men receive the award, and due to blocks. And he says that there are too many good defenders in the NBA. You know, the offense has the offense has 3, all NBA teams, and you can surely find 3 all NBA teams for defense. So like basically he just wants more defensive awards, more recognition for guys who play defense in the league. Okay, because
do we not have all defensive teams?
Yeah, but not as many. So all NBA teams, he's saying that the all NBA team is basically guys filled with offensive players, right?
Right.
And so the all NBA defensive team is 1 and 2. Okay, so he's saying add a third.
Okay.
And it may only be 1, but I'm pretty sure it's 2. I'm sorry, don't quote me on that, but I know it's either 1 or 2. Okay, and then he's saying for the Defensive Player of the Year award, they should add a second one. If you're only going to give it to centers every year, which 95% of the time it goes to centers, because you know what, I think, and this opened up a Pandora's box. I really went to I went down the box of like articles and studying and stuff like that, and he has like an extreme like leg to stand on because really it's just a traditional award, and when this award was first created, like it's just the game has changed. Big men were the league, and your entire defense, depended on the big man, and also, all offenses used to run through a big man. So it made sense for the Defensive Player of the Year to come from the best defense, the best defensive center in the league because they affected so much, and they were guarding the best player on the other team all the time because it was mostly an offensive center. Okay, now the game it really has flipped to a perimeter game, and most of the perimeter defenders, the best 2 perimeter defenders on your team each game, each day in and day out, they're facing guys on the other end that are 25 point per game scorers and higher, like that, and high usage rates. Dame Lillard, Giannis, I can go. You go through every game, every team. Jason Tatum, Brown, all of these guys. They have to guard these guys every single game. You know what I mean? They don't get any nights off, and they don't value that in the Defensive Player of the Year award. They value blocks, rebounds. And that plays such a huge part in the individual defensive defensive player rate. Okay, what do you think about that?
If they have 2 all defensive teams, I'm satisfied with that. I don't think there necessarily needs to be a third. I do find the more interesting piece of information, the potential 2 Defensive Player of the Year, 1 post-based, 1 perimeter-based. But part of the problem you have is the argument you made is that the game has evolved and you don't have as much traditional big play as you do in the past. And so that's one of those things where you're like, do we really have post and perimeter defenders or not? When you have, Karl Anthony Towns and Porzingis and some other centers spending as much time on the arc as they do in the paint, and somebody's got to guard them, that becomes a little bit of a question. But it also does kind of address the Rudy Gobert thing. When a lot of times you get in the playoffs and he's unplayable for his team when he's ostensibly the best defensive player in the league. So I wouldn't have a problem if they divided the award that way, as far as that goes. But again, there is kind of a historical notion of, you have an MVP. And again, at one point it was probably center-based, and now it's not center-based. And potentially if the game stays in the evolutionary trend that it's in, you're probably going to see more all defensive players be perimeter-oriented guys, because that's where the game's being played.
Unless if they don't change it, no, that's not it. Because I already feel like it's not like this is new. I feel like the game has changed. We're going on 10 years now, 10 to 15 years, if you will. And to give you a better idea, and I just looked this up myself. So when you talk about the All NBA teams and two being enough, just last year, right, on the first team, because remember about 3 years ago, they changed the rule where it had to be 3 to 4 years ago. They changed the rule where it had to be position based for all like awards. So just last year, this is the All NBA first team: Bam Adebayo, center; Anthony Davis, center; Rudy Gobert, center;
This
Wemby,
is all defensive team or all
NBA first defensive team.
First defensive
team.
teams. Okay.
So, and this is the reason why Jalen is saying there needs to be like a third team. All right, Victor Wembanyama, center. And then you have Herb Jones, forward. Okay, so that's no guards on the first team.
Right.
Right. And then on the second team, you have 4 guards along with McDaniels, which is a forward. Okay.
Who are the 4 guards?
Caruso, Holiday, Suggs, White.
Okay.
So and then I can go through it year after year. That's similar, right? All centers, they just dominate. Okay, they dominate the list, and it's because Bam averages, whatever, he's going to average 8 to 11 rebounds along with Davis and 2 blocks. You know what I mean? And Victor, wherever he's at, 5 or 6, 4, 5, 6 blocks, and that's how they determine defense. But that's not the only aspect of defense, and it's not the most important. And then also what they're taking away is, last year we're standing because Minnesota had a top 5 defense, but a lot of times, the defensive player of the year is not even coming from a top defense. So it's like, what is the impact? Because I'm sure, like this year, and I'm not saying it's not deservingly so, it maybe will be. I think Wemby is going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. But they're ranked 19th in defense. So, as a team, so and OKC is number 1. So I'm sure Jalen is looking at it like, okay, we're the number 1 defensive team. I know myself and Lou Dort, they're not going to get any Defensive Player of the Year votes.
Right.
It's a high chance they're not on the first team. And it's like, damn, what about us? Like year after year, you're leaving out the guards who really lock up on the All NBA first team and for Defensive Player of the Year. That's the view and the lens that he's looking at.
Yeah, I don't strongly disagree with what he's saying. It wouldn't trouble me if they decided to do that. But yeah, Wemby. Honestly, as things stand, he could be on the front end of a historic run of Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, but the last thing we put out was the Wemby versus Chet thing, and a lot of people call me a Wemby hater. I'm not a Wemby hater. I love to see Wemby play, but the truth is he's not an all-time great defensive player. He's not a great defensive player. He's a great shot blocker. That's just the truth of it. Like when you look at a great defensive player, guys have, and it's not just one night. Guys put up crazy nights on Wemby. You know what I mean? And it's like from last year to this year. Even though he's a rookie last year, a lot of people felt like he should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. Am I right? You thought so too.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, nobody thinks Joel Embiid is Shaquille O'Neal. He puts up 70 points on him. Like, nobody, no defensive player of the year, and on any night, your worst night, you have fucking stomach issues, you have AIDS, your right knee is broken. Like, nobody should be able to put up 70 points on you. You look, and it goes into this year, you have guys putting up 50 on him, 40 and 20. Like, he's a great shot blocker in space. Being able to fucking affect shots from free throw to three and all that good stuff. Like, he has great defensive qualities, but he's not a great, awesome defensive player. That's not what he is right now today. Does he have the ability down the line? Yes, but like, is he the defensive player of the year over Lou and Jalen? That's just a no. He's just not. But the way the award is set up, because he's going to have blocks, he averages a good amount of rebounds, he's going to run away with the award. But he's never locking anything or anybody up, ever. Like not even marginal guys, not even Bam Adebayo or fucking. He's not, you know what I mean. It's never any fucking night where he's locking anybody up. Jaren Jackson gets off on Wemby, like, you know what I mean. And so I just have a hard time getting on that train. But he is going to win it because I understand that's what the award is, and going to Jalen's point there.
The biggest piece of evidence for me with Wemby was literally the montage of videos of NBA guys doing anything they could not to take layups in the lane when he was back. That was crazy to me. And I just, that made a huge impression on me. But I do think, like, I'm not a huge stats guy. Like, it's just not how I process the game. I don't watch every game. I don't pore over box scores. But, like, I watch games and I come away with impressions of what people are. Now, you brought up the game of Lou Dort the other day when he shut down, Jaylen Brown in the second half of a game. That sort of performance resonates with me because it's like, okay, this guy's capable of doing that. Like, taking a really great player and making him absolutely struggle to play offensive basketball in the half of a game. And that's kind of the effect it had with Wemby, with kind of some of the stuff I saw where dudes just didn't want any part of attacking the rim when he's anywhere in the area. And that made a big impression. I mean, to me, one of the impressions that stayed with me for forever, it has been like LeBron James on Derrick Rose in the playoffs, Derrick Rose's MVP season. Like, when LeBron got in front of that guy and said, "You're not doing shit," he couldn't do shit. Like, he literally couldn't.
And guess what?
And
pause on that. Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year a year LeBron came in second, when everybody with eyes thought that LeBron should have won it. But he doesn't have the rebounds. He doesn't have the blocks. But LeBron James was the best defensive player in the league that year.
Well, and I mean, again, I would 100% agree based on the way I size things up and look at it. So I agree with you in that regard.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, I think like Lou Dort has put himself on the map for that.
He's not going to come anywhere near close. Like, he's not even going to be second or third.
Well, that's an injustice in my estimation.
Yeah. All righty then.